Hello, everyone. We are live, I hope. Welcome, everyone, to the second DART Town Hall. My name is Karen Fricker. I am the undergraduate program officer in the Department of Dramatic Arts at Brock and an associate professor. And you will see other smiling faces also on screen with me. And they are various members of the department who are going to introduce themselves in due course, because they are going to have an active role in this town hall, which is welcome. Everyone in the DART community is welcome, but we're particularly focusing on our incoming first-year students today. So I'm going to start, as we do, our proceedings by offering an acknowledgement of the land. And in doing so, I'm just aware of how paradoxical a practice that is in the current moment, because we are not all on the same land at the moment. And usually when we do this in public assembly, it's when we're in a lecture hall or a theater at Brock, and we know the land. But I know that some of you are in St. Catharines, I'm in Toronto, some of you may be elsewhere, and I'm assuming most of our students are in Ontario, but you might be in other provinces or in other places around the world. So I'm just aware of how our community is together and not together at the same time here in the online space. So I am in Toronto, or Takaranto, which is the original territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Brock University acknowledges them on the land in which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to work and live on that land today. That territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging them reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous peoples. So just protocols for how this event works and how our town halls work. We're live right now in the online space. We are also recording. Am I right, Gavin? Recording's on? Excellent. And so those, if you may be watching this now later because you weren't free to come, we're going to be sending around a YouTube link and a PowerPoint. I'm not going to show a PowerPoint during our talk today, but you are going to have that to refer to. Has a lot of great links on it and reminders of what we talk about. We are going to send that out to first-year students through your personal emails. And we just want to acknowledge that now that we're nearly through the course registration period, which you've all first years now experienced for the first time, your emails are going to be added to Dartboard, which is our online bulletin board. And every time we put something on Dartboard, we send an email to your Brock email addresses to let you know that something's there. It's a space you're going to be going to a lot. And so we're going to put this recording and PowerPoint up on Dartboard. And so this is the first and not the last time that I'm going to say to you today and throughout your 4 years at Brock, check your Brock email all the time, please, because that's how we contact you. So I am going to ask my colleagues who are here on the screen to introduce themselves. Could I just say in the order that I see you, Mike Giconte?
Okay, so my name is Mike Giconte. I'm an academic advisor at the Marilyn I. Walker School. So if you're a dramatic arts major, I will be your advisor for the next 4 years plus. So I'm here to help you with any questions you have about course registration and what courses to take and planning your schedule or any issues you're having in the class. I'm available every day for questions and stuff. So if you ever have a question, feel free to email me. As an incoming student at this point, I'm happy to help you if you have any issues setting up your first years. So nice to meet you all, and I look forward to working with you as you continue your progress in the DART program.
Thanks, Mike. Gavin?
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Gavin Farron. I'm the Technical Director for Dramatic Arts. So I will be working with you, and as I do with other students and faculty, with my production department colleagues in providing support to performance and production outcomes. Today, I'm running some of the behind the scenes, including making sure that your questions, which you might post in the chat pane for the live stream, make it over into the screen that we're using for the meeting that we're live streaming. So as I navigate that, I will have my camera off. One of the things that I will post back to you guys in the chat pane is links as they're discussed, and for example, contact info where, you know, Mike mentioned that you could email him. I'll make sure that that contact info gets out later on. Although all of us are fairly easy to find on the Brock directory. Looking forward to meeting you.
Gavin makes a good point, which is there's a chat function for all of you watching live. So any questions or comments that you have going on, just pop them in the chat function and they'll make their way to us. Gwen.
Hey everyone, my name's Gwen Anderson. I'm the Gimme 2 producer for Brock right now. The Gimme 2s are a festival that involves all of you guys in first year. It's the premier performance that you guys will have at Brock, so it's your first chance to be on stage or in a virtual world for performance, as might be the case this year. But I'll be working with you guys a lot, working with your performance professors a lot to introduce you to the Brock community and welcome you guys to the performance realm here. So.
Thanks, Gwen. And Gwen's going to be talking more about Gimme 2s. And I should mention that Gwen graduated from our department this year and is staying at Brock to do teacher training. Am I correct?
Yeah. So I'm in my post-grad now, but I've spent 4 years in the Dart department and 3 years with the Gimme 2s. So I'm excited to be here with you guys now.
Cool. Thanks, Gwen. Roberta?
Hi there, I'm Roberta Doyland. I'm the head of wardrobe. And in your 4 years at Brock, you're going to be spending a bit of time into the costume shop. You'll be first in there in your first year, and you'll be doing some basic work through 197, which David will describe more. Other than that, you'll be in the costume shop working on the shows when you take the production courses. And also when you're an actor in the show, you'll be coming to the shop to have fittings, to get your measurements done. And, you know, you'll probably just come wander down to the shop and ask if you can sit and work quietly, because that's a good place to be. So David's going to discuss more about the 1P97, which I will be teaching this year virtually. And the only other thing I want you to know is that your sewing kits are going to be available through the bookstore. They're included in your course fees. And you just order them through the bookstore and they will ship them to you. And you need to buy the kit because it's got the project in it for the first year class. Thanks so much. Looking forward to actually meeting you all soon.
Thanks, Roberta. Rachel? Rachel, we can't hear you.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Rhodes, and I'm a professor of applied theater. So for the first years, you may see me, I'm teaching Dart 1P94, the creative play for community development, and 1P95, the creative play for education. I do a lot of work within the community and look at how we can integrate social justice and transformative change with theater. So I am so looking forward to meeting you all.
Thanks, Rachel. Diego.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diego, just like Go Diego Go. I'm going to my 4th year of the Dramatic Arts program, and I have a minor in economics. And this year, I'm going to be one of your Dart reps. So I'm really excited for all the work that we're doing, and hopefully I get to meet all of you soon.
Thanks, Diego. And some of you, hopefully at home, are smiling and going, wait, I know that guy, because Diego is working for Brock at the moment on the Start Smart program. And he's told me that amongst the incoming students that he's dealing with are some Dart majors. So some of you already know Diego, and he's such an incredible lifeline for us at the moment, to you, to the first years and your thoughts and concerns. So we're going to be calling on him a lot today and throughout the year. David F.
Hi, this is David F. My name's David Fancy. I'm the chair of the department. I teach performance courses, but also courses in theater studies and performance studies. And I've communicated with many of you around the admissions process and had lots of great interviews with you, and have just a sense that there's an absolutely lovely group of people coming in this year. So hi to all the Dart community, and a special hi to our incoming first years.
And David V.
Thank you, Karen. Hello, everybody. I'm coming at you from my office at the Marilyn I. Walker School in St. Catharines. I teach production and design, and you'll have me as a prof, along with Roberta, in your first year course, DART 1P97. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'll also be designing the second main stage. What a big challenge for us. Main stages this year, they're going to be fantastic, though. And I'm also the director of the school, so if you have any other questions about other programs, connections, downtown, for example, happy to receive any shout outs from you. Thank you.
Thanks. So just for the sake of non-visual distraction, can I ask my lovely colleagues to turn off your cameras for now? They'll be back. Those are just some of the faces of DART, students, alums, faculty, and staff. And as we thought about focusing this event particularly for you, the first years today, we really just wanted to show you our faces and our smiles and to have you start to understand and get to know our community. We know that this is a really unusual year, and it's something very particular to be starting your university experience online. And we're absolutely working to make this an awesome year and are trying to open up as many pathways as possible for you to meet each other and the rest of the student body so that you can forge the collaborations and the friendships and the mentorships that will carry you through your Brock years and into the future. So that's really going to be a focus of today, is telling you what to expect in terms of curriculum, but also what to expect in terms of student life, productions, and some of the super cool activities and community systems that Diego and his colleague Luca, the other DART rep, are setting up for this very special year that we're having. So as you know, registration is well underway. We're very near the end of it. So I'm hoping that most of you are safely registered in your courses. And I know I mentioned Smart Start. Many of you will be involved in Brock orientation activities through Brock U4U, which is the expanded summer-long orientation program that Brock has put on during COVID. And I want to mention that coming up in August as part of BU4U, there's something called BU 101, which is a free, non-credit, online academic skills program to help you build technology, scheduling, note-taking, and study skills. And there's a few options, including one for essay writing. And I think that would be a really good one to opt for, because essay writing is a key skill that you build in DART. So I wanted to mention this, just if you're in BU4U, you already know about this, but it's actually open to all DART students, including continuing students. So if you are a continuing student, if you're feeling a bit like you want to get comfortable in the online space before we start up in September, check out BU4U, and I hope that Gavin is popping a link into the comments right now about BU 101. So first thing we're going to do on our program is to talk about your first year DART curriculum. We went over this in the first town hall, but we're going to go over it again and put more meat in the bones, because it's probably, hopefully, starting to be a little bit more material for you. I want to say that as will become clear as we talk about our courses and as you take them, that how we teach and learn in Brock, in DART, is grounded in what we call a praxis philosophy. And what that means is everything we theorize or read about or talk about, we also put in action in our courses. And everything that you actively practically do in your courses, you will also write about and reflect upon. It's kind of an iterative, spiraling forward process of do, think, talk, do, think, talk, do. And that's, so even if you're taking a course that's a more theater studies or academic course, which are some of the courses that I teach, there are always going to be practical elements, and vice versa. So the courses that you take, you as a DART major, you take a foundation of courses in the first year, so you don't have a lot of choices around that. There are courses that you need to take in your first year in order to progress to your second year. You do have some options about what order you take them in, but the idea is that in order for you to start a drama degree, you need foundational knowledge in all of the key areas of the department. So the first course that you're going to hear a bit about today is DART 1P97, Introduction to Stagecraft Production and Design. You'll all take this. Some of you will take it in the fall. Some of you will take it in the winter. And David, Vivian, and Roberta are going to magically appear right now to talk to you a little bit about that course. There. Poof.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, Roberta. Welcome, everybody. So this is a class that runs for half of the year. And then the other half of the year, during the same time period, you'll be in your first year performance course. We ask all of our students to take this foundational course, Introduction to Scenic Carpentry, to Wardrobe, and to the use of technology, such as lighting and sound tools in our live performance making. I'll give you a brief description of the units I'm involved with, and then also Scenic Carpentry, and then I'll pass the mic over to Roberta so she can talk to you with some detail about the wardrobe section. So the class begins at 9 o'clock Monday morning, and the first part is a lecture, and that's going to be with me and some invited guests. It will run for about 45, 50 minutes. I'm going to be in the space with you. You're thinking, well, what is this online learning about? I'm going to make it as live as possible. It's going to be quite similar to actually being in NWS 156, the lecture hall where we would normally have this course, because I want to hear you, and this is a class about conversation and discovery. I'm going to introduce you to different ways we make theater and different types of theater buildings. We're going to have special guests that come in and talk about the main stages, their design projects, which includes me, for example, and Kelly Wolf, who also teaches for us, and Alexandra Lord, who is going to be designing costumes for us. After that 1 hour lecture, we move into our labs. All of the students break into 3 sections. A third of the group will be with Roberta, a third of the group with Ed Harris in the section about the scene shop, and a third of the group with me. And that will probably be an experience of 1 or 2 different live teaching moments, 45, 50 minutes long. In my case, introduction to lighting design, introduction to sound. I'm going to talk about some really exciting contemporary theater projects, some of them coming out of Canada. I'm going to talk to you about an immersive project I know in Japan. There are going to be some projects. There will be some group projects, so another opportunity for you to connect with other students. We're going to be using some software that's available in the public domain, so there won't be any cost for you, and there won't be any build aspects to it. Unlike with wardrobe and Roberta's section, I'm not going to be preparing a kit of materials and tools for you. The scene shop is going to be a little bit unusual for the experience between September to December. The lab in scenic carpentry is going to also be delivered online. And whereas we would normally have you in the scene shop and we will be introducing you to materials, the safe handling, the use of the fixed and the portable tools, for example, and you would actually be building with us so that you can be ready for your courses in the second year where you have an opportunity to build the sets and properties for the show. We won't be doing that in the first component of your year at DART, the section that's running from September to December. The university may be announcing, right, in September that we're moving to on-site teaching, and if we're doing that and knowing that you are all over the world, we'll be changing the modality up. We'll be switching it up in January. We'll be doing it online, and if we have the possibility to also have you on-site, then we will be prepared for that. Notwithstanding, at some point in the future, when you're with us here at Dramatic Arts, we're going to make a special opportunity for you to learn all those practical technical skills, working with materials in the scene shop at some point in the future, so you're ready for your second year. All the material will be posted in our online teaching unit. It's called Sakai. It's pretty straightforward. I think that's all I have to say. So at this point, Roberta, maybe you can talk specifically about Wardrobe Lab and the great projects you've queued up for the students.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be teaching this. It's a different way to teach how to sew and how to learn about costuming. As David said, I will be doing some synchronous lecture work with you from 10 o'clock on Monday morning. How long that is depends on how much information I'm giving and how many questions you have. One of the things we will be doing, I will be setting a series of videos up, and you will have an in-class project that you do for me. And it'll include learning all of the basics of hand stitching and making a project, which is a mask, which is what you're going to need when you come back, hopefully come back in January. So those videos will be available to you, and I am going to be available for one-on-one discussion, and we can do video discussion or we can do phone calls. We'll make it work. And at some point in the future, hopefully in January, I am going to be making the costume shop available to students who want to come in and learn how to use the sewing machines, because they are integral to costuming. The skills I am going to give you in the video series are all hand sewing skills. They're very reminiscent of pre-sewing machine. So it's something that's been happening time immemorial, and sewing machines are a modern convenience. So it's not a difficult project. Everyone can do it. The kits are going to be pretty interesting. They're fun. The fabric I chose for the masks is quite lovely. It looks like a COVID burst. Quite neat. So I'm looking forward to teaching this, and I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you. Also, what I've done is I've set up a Facebook page called Dart Costume Shop, and I will link it through the Facebook page, Dart Students Facebook page, and you can join the Costume Shop page or request to join the Costume Shop page. So that way it gives you a place you can come and sit and you guys can chat. It's a virtual tea, sit and stitch and talk in a virtual space that is off of the grid and just in Facebook. And you can ask questions in there, and I will be able to answer questions. And a number of senior students have also joined the page, and they'll be able to help you answer questions as well. So it is a kind of a community space to sit and virtually have a cup of tea and see what's going on in the costume shop. Anyway, I hope you all do well, and I look forward to meeting you all.
Thank you, Roberta. And I'll just finish up with 2 quick comments. Yes, we're going to be teaching you on live, if you like, online and live. We will be recording these sessions. If you have any technical challenges, for example, you're unable to attend, know that all this material will be captured and posted for you in Sakai, so you can review it or watch it for the first time after the fact. Second thing, a lot of the dramatic arts courses have field trips. Normally this would involve us either going across the Performing Arts Center, which is next door, or getting on the bus, going to Toronto, or wherever we're going. We'll be doing some virtual field trips. There will be some virtual field trips that are associated with this course, and wait for more information. They are the basis of some of our most interesting conversations. What is this theater we're seeing? How are they making it? Wow, I want to figure this out, whether it's on the level of costumes, lights, sound, scene shop, whatever. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, David and Roberta. That's really great information. I was chatting to Roberta the other day, and she showed me her GoPro camera, which she is figuring out how to use to make the videos for you. So we're all expanding our technological repertoires to adapt our teaching and learning to this particular space. So now I'm going to ask Rachel to magically appear to talk to us about Dart 1P94, Creative Play for Community Development, and Dart 1P95, Creative Play for Education, which are the core classes for the Drama in Education and Applied Theater Teaching and Learning and Art Department. Rachel Rhodes.
Well, hello, everybody. Okay, so for 1P94, that's Creative Play for Community Development. It's also going to be synchronous, so it will be as live as possible. And we're going to be looking at all different forms of applied theater, and as well as being able to talk with some practitioners from different areas of the world who I'll be bringing in as guest artists. So we'll get to hear directly from the source of people doing all different types of applied theater throughout the world. We're also going to be using one of my favorite books, Beautiful Trouble, A Toolbox for Revolution. This is packed with examples of how theater and the arts have been used to enhance and fuel social movements throughout history. And so we'll be looking at all kinds of tactics and theories and exemplars through that, which I'm very excited about. We'll also be having some opportunities for you to have little side rooms so that you can be creating and devising your own work and then bring it back into the full group so that we can do some presentations, even though it's going to be a very unique and challenging experience to figure out how to devise by technology means, but I'm sure we can figure it out together. going to be a lot of learning together as we move through this process. And I'm feeling very hopeful and excited to also learn from you about how we can make this the best learning experience possible. For Creative Play for Education, that's going to be speaking a lot around how to use different theater techniques within the classroom, but also in educational settings that vary in terms of maybe an English language learning classroom or an adult education space, as well as looking at things in the primary intermediary areas. So in that case as well, I'm going to be calling on some of my friends who are phenomenal drama educators in different areas, so we can have them come along as guests as well. And for both courses, we'll be doing a mixture of me offering a brief lecture to start, and then oftentimes I have reflective writing that you go off for a bit to try to figure out how it applies to you and develop your own thinking around it. And then we come back together and have an interactive discussion based on what you're really finding to be resonant or confusing or inspiring or what have you in the materials that we're exploring together. So I'm very excited to introduce you to some amazing artists and practitioners and scholars and to have some creative play. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Rachel. And so now we're going to talk about the course DART 1 P91 Introduction to Theater and Performance, and that'll be me because I am teaching that course in the fall. That's a course for all DART majors, and it's also a Brock context course, which means that folks can take it from around the university to get their humanities context credit. And what that means is that it's a big class. We just topped 100 students in the lecture, and that's about normal. And so this is a format that you'll grow familiar with. There's going to a 2-hour lecture period and a 1-hour seminar period. The lecture, I am going to, like Rachel, use a combination of synchronous, real-time, face-to-face in the virtual space learning, and some pre-recorded and independent and group activities for you to do during that scheduled 2-hour period every week. And then you'll have seminars led by me or a teaching assistant, and those are max 20 people, and those are really an opportunity for active discussion, active application of ideas, and a chance for really a personal connection that's so important, which is more difficult to deliver in the large lecture format. So this course is called Introduction to Theater and Performance, and it's introducing you to what it means and how we go about studying theater in an academic setting. What is the history of theater studies? What are the areas of theater studies? And it's an introduction to how to apply critical theories like postmodernism, postcolonialism, deconstruction, globalization theories to theater. The raw material that we use to study those theories are contemporary Canadian plays. And I'm in the process of curating what plays you're going to read with a particular eye, first of all, to make sure that the artists that are writing these plays represent the full spectrum of identities of folks writing and creating theater on this land today. Indigenous writers, Black, trans, abled, differently abled, all kinds of voices are very important for us to be considering as we think about theater and performance. And I'm also curating with an eye to, like Rachel, bringing as many of these folks into our space as possible. That's something that's really kind of the online space is affording us, is we can invite people to do class visits or a pre-recorded video, and it doesn't involve them coming to St. Catharines. Maybe they live in St. Catharines, maybe they live in Toronto, maybe they live in Berlin. But we can bring those people in to interact with us. And that's something I'm really super excited about in that class. I should also say that that class will involve group projects. Group projects are a really important aspect of teaching and learning. It's important that you learn in this way from and with each other and learn group skills and collaboration skills. It's different in the online space, but it's absolutely still doable. And so you can look forward to DART 1 P91 being a place in which you're going to get to know some of your peers quite well as you work to build a project together. So that's 1P91, which happens in the fall. And I'll just mention other courses that are part of your core. We don't have these instructors here to talk to you today, but you're going to be hearing a lot more about these courses going forward. In the winter, following on from 1P91, you'll take 1P92, which is Performance as Cultural Practice 1, which starts at the origins of theater in many cultures and takes you through theater history up to about the mid-19th century. And building your skills, writing essays, doing research is a huge part of that spine of classes. Same time as you take my class, you're going to be taking 1P96, Script Analysis and Interpretation, which is a super deep dive into plays and how they work. What makes a play and not a novel and not a poem? And how do plays work? What are the boundaries? What are the innovations? Super important for you to have that learning as you move forward, particularly those of you who are interested in going into dramaturgy, direction, and criticism. And you will be taking DART 1P99, Introduction to Performance. That is a partnered course with the Stagecraft course. So you'll take 1P99 one term and then 1P97 the other term. We have hired the instructors, they're sessional instructors for the fall, Kevin Reese and Colin Anthes, and they're going to be in touch with you soon to talk about their approaches to teaching performance online. So now that's the core curriculum. And can I ask Mike Gigante and Diego Blanco to magically appear? And can I ask Gavin, so this is a moment where we can field specific questions about course registration and about any questions that you might have about curriculum. Gavin, is anything coming up in the group chat yet about that?
So far, we haven't had any questions pop in.
Okay, cool. Mike, do you have any general points you want to make about registration and maybe some specific things that have been coming up for you this year?
Yeah. So, I'm assuming most of the students here are at the first year level. Hopefully we have some returning students as well. I guess really, the main point I would make is that, the registration process does require a bit of patience and flexibility. Don't panic if you wake up at 6 a.m. to register and one of the courses is giving you an error on the registration system. Again, that's why, myself and Karen Picker and others in the department are here to help you. So, if you ever are having issues, please know that myself and the department are always available to help you with those issues. Again, just, keep that in mind. I hope that does give you some comfort. And I think just in general, I find the most successful students during the registration period are those that are pragmatic. If you should, on a year-by-year basis, really be planning your schedule and your courses before your registration date. We usually release the timetable about a month beforehand, so that gives you, several weeks to plan what courses you want to take. So I just find that students really have a better time during the registration period if they're pre-planned and organized their date of registration. Sometimes students wait until the day of registration to figure out their courses, and then they're scrambling at the last minute to get in. And it is a really busy time for myself and the other faculty members. So we might, that's more the general tip I would give to first year students. And again, if there are any, first year or upper year DART students that are still having issues with some courses, because I know there are some out there, reach out to myself or Karen, and then, we can always help you arrange that. I think you're muted, Karen.
Oops, we're good. Thanks, Mike. We've had a question come up from Megan. Thanks, Megan. Are all classes online or in some in person? In the fall, in DART, all classes are online. That is us responding to the best health advice, to Brock's prescription that nearly all classes be online, and also the very particular kind of teaching and learning that we do in the department, where social distancing is particularly challenging in classes that involve hands-on skills and moving around. And we are avidly waiting, as are all of us, to hear what the university decides about winter term. Right now, we're in a holding pattern. As David Vivian already mentioned, we know that particularly first years have had to make the decision about whether to sign up for residence. And some of you have said, no, I'm not going to sign up for residence this year. And we've said to you, that's absolutely fine. We understand that choice. If you are not going to be in residence in winter, and we find that we are face-to-face, we will have dual teaching modes, so that those of you who are still at home or elsewhere than St. Catharines will be able to learn along with those who are in the classroom. So it's quite, as we say, a fluid situation, but I hope that's a useful answer to you, Megan, and others. So Diego, could I just ask you to talk about, because you've been doing some frontline fielding of questions and concerns from first years, about the particular questions around the scheduling of asynchronous classes, which is a little bit particular. So could you talk about that?
Yeah, of course. So this year we have two types of courses. We have async and sync courses. If you go to your timetable and are wondering like, oh, what course is going to be async or sync, you can just go to the timetable, and under the location of the course, you'll be able to find if your course is async or sync. What this means is if the course is async, it means that you don't have to be at that time and date on your schedule in the course. So your professor will upload the material you have to review in the week, and you can do it throughout the week whenever you have the chance, just making sure you are not falling behind in the course. If the course is sync, that means that you have to be there on the time and on the date specific, because your professor is going to be live giving you the course. I have been reviewing some schedules in SmartStart from many different faculties and many different programs, and I've noticed that some people actually have conflicts with courses that are async and sync. If you cannot change that, what I will recommend you is email your professors and your academic advisors just to let them know you have a conflict, but one of your courses is async and one of your courses is sync, because the system will automatically deregister you if they see a conflict, even though it's an async and a sync course. So what we want when you're making your schedule is that you don't have any conflicts. But if this is the situation, just email your professor and your academic advisor. Also, I will recommend you, if you want me to review your schedule, you can also register for SmartStart. It's free, and you will see a lot of different resources regarding finance, residence, off-campus living, how to be successful. And there's a place where you can actually ask for someone to check your schedule. You can request that I can be that person since I'm in dramatic arts, and then I will just review it and tell you if you have any issues, or I will tell you if it's complete.
That's great. Thanks, Diego. We have another question from Cheyenne. Thanks, Cheyenne. Will all textbooks be digital, or can we have the option to have actual copies? That's a great question. I think it's going to be on a course-by-course basis, depending on how the professor or instructor decides to handle it. The campus store which is where you usually go to buy your books, is very much working at this point. Many classes on campus are using books, and so you need to contact the campus store about seeing which of your courses has books to buy and working on buying them and getting them sent to you. I can say that for my course, DART 1P91, I am assigning this book, Theory Theater, which you can buy through the campus store as hard copy if you're somebody who likes to hold a book. It is also available as an ebook in the DART library. So if you're okay reading ebooks, you can save that money and read it as an ebook. And I think increasingly, though, that kind of dual possibility is something, even before COVID, that was becoming more and more a mode in which we work. I see a hand from David Fancy. Could you pop up if you got an answer to that?
Yeah, just saying too that even if you are assigned an ebook through the library and you prefer to read from paper and to mark up paper rather than marking something up digitally, very often you can download sections of the ebook on a daily basis up to a certain maximum. And so it gives you the flexibility even if you're starting with an ebook. So I just thought I'd drop that in because a lot of people actually prefer paper, and I'm kind of one of them.
Yeah, we're old school, David. I should also mention that we stock the campus store with required texts, but you don't have to buy it from the campus store. If you know an older student who's got their, I mean, of course, everybody should own this book for the rest of their life. But if you know somebody who wants to loan or let you buy at a reduced price a copy of any one of the books, or if you find a copy of the same edition on Amazon or a small local bookseller that you'd like to support, go for it. You know, we need you to have the materials, but we are not obliging you to use the campus store. The campus store is there for your convenience. They're great folks working with us right now. So as the time draweth nigh, you will be hearing from all of your instructors with the course outlines, and the course outlines are going to end, and there's the virtual learning environments, Sakai sites, are going to have all the information that you need to know about what kind of materials you will need to obtain or that will be provided for you in the course. So thanks, folks, for curriculum and course registration questions. So we're now going to move on to talk about what to expect in the fall in terms of departmental culture and activities, the student life piece. And so I hope you have your pens poised. Here is an important date for you. Tuesday, September 5th, 6 p.m. online, we're going to be having the DART orientation. This is a virtual, this year, event in which you're going to have an opportunity to meet as many of the DART faculty and staff who are able to be there. So to meet more folks than your professors and instructors and the folks you've met today. And it's also a moment where continuing students, second, third, fourth, and fifth year students come along. And it's an opportunity for you to get to meet upper class people and to ask them questions about what it's like to be at DART in your second, third, fourth, and fifth year. And, you know, again, starting to forge relationships and to get to go know people in your increasingly large bubble of DART contexts. One-on-one and small group networking and socializing is very much part of the orientation, included in, as well as letting you know some of the departmental activities that are going to be happening throughout the year. So Tuesday, September 15th, 6 p.m. You'll be hearing more about it, but that's just to let you know that that's coming up in the second week of term. So you met Gwen before to talk about Gimme Twos, and I'm going to ask her to pop up and talk a little bit more about what Gimme Twos are and how they work.
Thanks, Karen. I realized when I was blacked out, I don't have one of those names at the top. So yeah, I'm Gwen again, if you guys forgot. So the Gimme Two Festival is something that we do every semester at Brock for the first year performance students. So that's your 1P99 course. In that course, the Gimme Twos, it's worth 5% of your grade, but it's just a participation mark. It always has been. The purpose of this is so that we can get the first year performers or future actors on stage and give them an opportunity to act in front of the department without the pressure of being graded on that work. So that's always a good part of the Gimme Two Festival, regardless if we're online or if we're in person. It kind of takes some of that stress off because it will be your first performance here at Brock. So the Gimme Twos, it's kind of a funny name, so I'll explain what it means. It's gimme, like the number two. So it's like, give me two people in 2 minutes and I'll give you a scene. And that's what it is. It's two first-year actors who act in a 2-minute scene that's written and directed by an upper year student. So it's a great opportunity for you guys to meet upper year students, students who are experiencing directing, who might want to become directors or just want to dabble in the event. So that forges some community bonds from the get-go, and it's also an opportunity for you to work with your fellow peers and your classmates. The thing about this festival is it's all about the first years. We like to make it that way because we really like to highlight you guys coming into the department and showcase the talents that you guys have. And it's going to be no different while it's online. So I'm in the process of figuring out how we're going to do that online right now for you guys. But I don't want you guys to worry because it'll work out. And I mean, if anything, I think that it's actually a really cool opportunity and chance for you guys, because you guys will be the year that did it online. And if you think about the future going forward, to be able to look back with your peers and say, oh, like, we were part of the COVID year that did our performances online. Like, that's, I see that as a area for community bond as well, which I think is a bright side that you can look at it from that perspective with. So the Gimme 2 Festival, the nice part about it as well is that it's a pour theater design. If you don't know what that is, it's okay, you're not even in school yet. We'll teach you. But it's basically theater that exists without the use of costumes or props. So you just wear all black, there's no props involved, no anything like that, very basic lighting cues. And that actually helps with transitioning it onto a virtual realm because we don't have to worry about all of those things. So you guys will see me again throughout probably this entire process at the DART orientation. I'm thinking about having like get-togethers with just you or your classes, your performance professors. So I'll be there along the way. If you guys have any questions, you can come and ask me. Like I said, I've produced this festival many a time, so I'm pretty prepared to answer any questions you guys might have. And if you guys have something that I don't know the answer to, I'm more than willing to work with all these lovely people on the screen to try to figure it out so that this festival can be the best that it can be for you guys. Because we really want to make your first performance something special here. I'm so glad that I get to be a part of that.
Thanks, Gwen. And I should mention, I'm going to put Gwen on the spot here, but Gwen just completed a final year special project course where she wrote about producing Gimme 2s as pedagogy and has created a handbook so that when Gwen has gone on to her illustrious future and is no longer available to work with us in the department, we'll have kind of a how-to document. And I think that that's a really good example of how practical experiences also can become academic, theorized course projects, and really responsive to the innovation and to the work of our students. So congratulations, Gwen. And thanks very much for that. That's super exciting. So I'm going to call on Diego now to talk about with his student rep hat on, to talk about the buddy system, which we kind of started talking about last time, and about some of your ideas about creating online social spaces for the DART student body. Over to you, Diego.
Thanks, Karen. So yeah, me and Luca are working really hard to really want your first year experience to be fantastic. And we know that sometimes the first year experience happens outside of the classroom, like in the computer commons, in the hallways when you start meeting upper year students, because you will find out that our DART community is not only your year. You will be friends with upper years, with people in second year, third year, and fourth year. So what we are creating is the body system, which is a system of mentors. So the last week of August, we're going to send a form that you're going to fill out, both mentors and mentees. And it's basically questions just to find out some information about you. It's going to be professional questions, but also questions of what kind of things you like. And then we are going to pair you up with an upper year student who will be your mentor throughout your first year. If you have any questions about courses, or like you're going to see that sometimes you have to write an essay and you don't know, they can give you some ideas and they can help you with. If you have a question in performance and you're like, oh, can you give me a coaching for my monologue? Can you give me some feedback? They will be able to do that. And what we're going to create is a community. We're going to build a Facebook page where we are going to admit all the students in DART. So this is going to be a page for students, by students. And it's going to be an incredible space where we are going to be making virtual common rooms, which is going to be, you can pop to a live size and you're going to see some students just gossiping, spilling the tea in DART, which is fantastic. It's my favorite sport ever. And me and Luke are also planning to have some virtual office hours for you. If you have any questions and you want help from your DART reps, we're going to be there for you. We're still working how that's going to look like, but we also want to have events around the year, kind of like party events. We're going to have Netflix parties. Then we're designing a murder mystery dinner party and some crazy ideas that we're going to ask some upper year students to help us with. So we're really, really excited. And I hope all of you want to join to the Body System. And I hope your first year experience is going to be amazing. And we are trying to help you with that.
Thanks, Diego. That's awesome, and I hope students are excited about these programs that Diego and Luca are starting up. And thank you guys so much for your leadership of our student body at this time. So now we've got about 8 minutes left to our scheduled time, which is great, and we can now answer any and all questions coming through. And we have a question coming through from Paolo. Who says, and this is a question last time as well, many of us are concerned about tuition fees. Are you aware if tuition fees are going to be lowered? If you don't know, then who can you recommend us to speak to? So I do know that Brock has made the decision, like many institutions, that it cannot lower its tuition fees this year. Again, that's an institutional decision. It's not one that we're individually responsible for or collectively responsible for at DART. It's one that we're responding to. I will say that putting an entire university curriculum online costs money, and the university and the departments are investing in a lot of technology and people time to deliver amazing teaching and learning in the fall. And I believe we're working very hard to make sure that we are giving you really valuable and substantial teaching and learning in the fall, that it's our responsibility to make sure that you're going to get the skills and knowledge that will allow you to continue in a, we believe, face-to-face future. I should say that there are reductions to some costs for Brock students and DART students this year. Many of the ancillary fees that Brock students pay, for example, to BUSU, the Students' Union, and to the university itself for things like academics, recreation, student life, and to fund the Students' Union, have been reduced. And I think that Gavin is going to pop a Brock News link into the chat that is the story about those reductions. And David Vivian also reminds me in a very welcome way that materials fees in a number of DART courses are reduced this year in comparison to face-to-face years. And again, all we know about is the fall is going to be virtual. So, I mean, that's the answer. Tuition's the same, but ancillary fees are less. I'm not seeing any other questions popping up in my chat yet. So I'm hoping that David Fancy can appear like magic to tell us a little bit about how plans are progressing for the fall main stage production, which you are in fact directing, David, are you not?
I am, absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. David Vivian mentioned earlier that as a scenographer, he is preparing to design, in collaboration with a colleague who's a director from the department, the second main stage. And so that will happen in the new year. For the fall main stage, of course, we've been told we will be online. And so rather than seeing this as a second best solution, we're seeing it as a first best solution. I think there's a redundancy or perhaps even an oxymoron in there. At any rate, we're doing a production by an English playwright named Howard Barker. Some of you who have familiarity with the Shaw Festival may have last season seen a production called Victory. That was also a text of his. So it's a really interesting play about a historical figure, a woman who lived in Italy in the 1500s, and she was a painter. And she's been given a different name by Barker, but it's essentially the story of a woman painter in Italy in the 1500s who has been given a vast painting commission to paint a battle that was actually one of the final naval battles of the Crusades between Christians and Muslim fighting. And so obviously this issue of battle of civilizations, of issues around race and ethnicity and racialization, some of the struggles around territory and religion. These are very powerful themes that resonate with the current moment, as does the question of the woman who is the artist, who's living in a very patriarchal circumstance and she's working to create a vast work of art in the face of some really significant challenges. But she's a very powerful character, and she's surrounded by some important allies and some important enemies. And so what we're doing is we are creating an online version of this that involves, with any luck, a small footprint within the theater, but then exported sets, props, and costumes to all the individual performers' houses and habitations. A combination of the live, some elements of the recorded, certainly all virtual, some of it in theater, some of it in distributed spaces. So my pitch to the participants is the idea that not only are we making a piece of theater, but we're also having the opportunity to make an art film with inflections of social media as well, because we will be presenting this through a variety of ancillary complementary platforms kind of at the same time. We're still figuring things out, but we have a great team of people. We have associate director who's a student, and then many student functions also in the assistant designer role. We have a student who's the full sound designer, 14 performers. We have a choreographer. We have an individual who's doing work on dramaturgy, which is about exploring the thematics of the production as they relate to contemporary events, so that we make sure that the stories that we're telling are relevant, useful, and productively interventionist, if that's not too many syllables, in the world around us. So that's the fall main stage that we're working on at the moment. And we just finished the storyboard for it last week. Back to you, Karen.
Great, thanks, David. The main stages are a big part of our department culture, and the actors are students. They're you in upper years. Auditions happen in April, and from the end of your first year forward, I think I'm right, you can audition for main stage to be admitted into the performance concentration and for some other performance outcomes. So as your years in Dart increase, so do the opportunities to actively be involved in delivering the main stage increase. And just about going to see the theater, David Vivian mentioned, I just want to reiterate that we will be going to the theater virtually to see David's production and to see a number of other professional theater productions locally and around the world that are being made under the conditions of COVID, because there's a lot of innovation going on, and that's something that's really important for us to engage with and to talk about and think about and do ourselves as much as possible. So we're up to time just about, and I don't see any more questions popping up in the chat. So I will say a second time, and not for the last time, my parting shot to you, incoming Dart students, is please keep your eye on your Dart email and create a practice of checking it at least once a day, more during term time, because that's where all of the further information about the stuff that we've told you about today will continue to flow to you. So thanks all of you who popped in to deliver this event, and those of you who are listening. And you will, thanks for turning up. Why doesn't everybody turn up again so we can wave goodbye? And we'll be sending along this recording in the PowerPoint, and our email inboxes are always open to continue talking about everything that we're discussing today and more. So have a great rest of the day, folks.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.